Good morning. How is everyone doing? Welcome. Yes. And what today we're going to keep going with the GTD, and we're also hopefully, I do hope to be able to get into some Unreal later in this stream. For now, though, we're going to have to make sure we have all the mechanics done. Good morning, MHL. Yes, I'll see you in a bit. It's been a while, absolutely. I had a big, like, hiatus for a while. Not sure if the hiatus is the correct term. I was Christmas holidays, then during January, I decided to work on a different project, which turned out to have failed completely, uh, which was fun. Yeah, that project, I was working on a video, more or less. I was working on a YouTube video, a full series for a very specific topic. And the raw source material I was using, I was editing, just didn't work out. So I ditched it. Didn't want to spend more time on it. But that's that. That is done. That is packed to the side. I'm not going to look at that again. Probably, at least. We'll see what happens. If more time is available for me to spend on YouTube and on Twitch in general, I only have, let's give or take, 10 hours each week. And those are mostly put into streams. If I can open up time in future, I'll do it. I'll focus more on Twitch or sorry, on YouTube in this case. Just for the long run, that will probably be the best choice. But either way, we are not talking about that. We are looking at the GDD, and apparently I have a inconsistency in my documents, or not inconsistency, a contradiction, which I would love to look at. I just need to check my notes. I don't remember ever adding this song to the playlist. And I should probably swap out my background. I have the most generic Windows background ever. Either way. So, apparently, my document seems to be polling between two versions of the game. One version seems to be has focus on what I've been calling creations within like quotation. We'll get to that in a bit. And their main purpose in this game is to watch and create some kind of danger for a player. That was not my intention. I didn't mean for them to sound like that or have that big impact on the GTD or the document in itself. So I'm gonna have to look at that. The other version has a pure psychological experience. Yeah, exactly. That's more what I'm going for. As of running for 2 minutes, why didn't ad just run? Hello, Steam. Oh, Steam, Twitch. What are we doing? MHL, how you doing? Welcome back. I'm doing great, thank you. Thanks for asking. How are you doing, by the way? Apparently, for some reason, we're on an ad break. I don't know why. I thought I pushed an ad. Maybe I should just not do that anymore. Let's just have YouTube or YouTube. What is it we'll be doing? Let's just have Twitch push that in the future. You good? Awesome. Glad to hear. Just give me a second. I need to update a few things. I've tried to make a lot of the things I'm doing automated, but apparently they just make things more confusing and more complicated it should be. Twitch and streaming bot, my part of the stream bot isn't cooperating as well I wanted to. You won't be able to catch most night streams. I'm sorry to hear that. Because this is going to be my hours going forward. Well, I do hope that every now and then that you will be able to jump in. And you won't be able to use Discord anymore. Is it due to what's going to happen with Discord in the future, or has something else going on? Of course, if you can't share that, that's perfectly fine. I'm just curious. It's night for you. I kind of got that. Yeah. Yeah, I'm sorry. I had to pick this time purely for IRL stuff. Parental restrictions for certain reasons. Yeah. Oh, okay. There you go. Yeah, there seems to be some updates going on Discord side, and yeah, we'll see what happens after March. We'll see how big Twitch Discord will be. Okay, so we got no more ads on Twitch side. Just give me another like few seconds. I'm gonna have to turn a few things off. There we go. So now Streambot, next time I'll launch or go live, Streambot will not push an ad straight away because I specifically asked. Maybe that doesn't work. Maybe so. Twitch is pushing after like a minute, I believe, or 2 or 3. Can't remember exactly. They will push an ad. That is on me. I asked them to do that, but I assumed wrongly, probably, that if I push an ad before that, then they will not push an ad. But apparently they do. Well, that's perfectly fine, Michelle. I understand. Everyone has their reasons, and it's nothing to feel bad about or anything like that, right? In the future, we'll see. Maybe, I mean, I'm going to do this for quite some time, so maybe in the future you'll be joining us more frequently. An upside, right? You have time. I'm halfway through. Okay, I'm not going to say that. That was kind of dark from my on my part. You hate autocorrect so much? Yeah, I understand. I don't necessarily hate that. I'm starting to hate touchscreen, if that makes sense. Back in the day, when you had analog buttons, this is, I'm assuming even before your time, Michelle. Oh, I'm so old. You can use touch to know which button you were on, right? You can't do that anymore. So I'm pushing like probably every 10 button, but every 10 touch on the screen, it's wrong on my side. I can't for the life of me. Am I really getting that old that coordination is that bad, or have I always been that bad? Never just haven't bothered me until now. I do hope it's the latter. I don't want to grow old and every movement I do is going to be like a millimeter or two off. That's just that thought's kind of to be honest. It doesn't scare me. It's just not. I don't like it. You've updated Weedy Wonder. Oh, cool. I fixed a few bugs. I want to add how to play, a speedrun timer, and maybe achievements, but you don't know. I think those all sound like great ideas. Two things that comes to mind. And it's not, I don't want to discourage you to do this. If you want to do this, you should absolutely go for it. That's 100%, right? Time is one big thing. Do you want to spend that extra time, or do you want to kind of maybe work on another project because maybe feel like you've learned everything you need to know from this game? That's the thing about games. You will be better on the next one, more skilled, more experienced, so you'll continuously do better games. Second one is, do these features you just mentioned add to the main idea of the game? Is that the game you want to make? So far, I think your friend, and some random person are the only 3 people that have ever played it, though. It's unfortunate. The gaming market is just so saturated, dude. Yeah. Keep it up, though. It will find your people. You'll find your audience. So most likely it's bug or has horrible balances. I'm also trying to find people to play it. I mean, that's a good um way to look at it. Just don't give up yet. The thing is, and I've learned this now through YouTube and through Twitch, fairly recently, to be honest. These things tend to feel very drudgy in the beginning, like as if you're kind of treading water before something happens. And you don't know when it's going to happen. I don't know. It hasn't happened to me yet. Maybe it will not happen. But apparently, many people, many streamers, many Twitch, or many YouTubers feel like their way things has worked out for them is that they do things for quite some time, then all of a sudden everything happens. I'm assuming it's similar for games. So just keep on working on it. Achievements would fit. Well, okay. Since it's a very open game with many possibilities, that's fair. How to play is necessary. True. I would focus on that, to be honest, as a first priority. And you just like speedrunning. All right, so I think you have your answer right there. Based on your what you messaged in chat, I'd say you want to focus first on how to play. If that's not there, then people will not find or want to play your game, right? Second of all, you love or like speedrunning. Go for that. Make the game you want to make. And achievements, if time is there, if you still want to do them after you've done the first two, go for achievements, right? And also make sure your presentation is proper, like it's making people look at your game. Have a good description, or at least well thought out one. It doesn't have to be the most fantastic. Um, the first impression is very important. And just get your game out there, dude. Just keep it up. You could do it. Okay, so let's see. We'll have to play most important to speedrunning. Yep, easy and simple. There you go. If that's, yeah, of course you can do it. Absolutely, yeah. I mean, you've already made the game. Now you need to tweak it, right? Going from what you've already done to what you want to do now, that's not a big leap. It's kind of the natural progression of stuff. So absolutely you can do it. So apparently, looking at my pitch and again the notes, the thing that makes people feel like there's a contradiction is, I'm assuming, this part. So let's see. So the elevator pitch is: step into the disturbed world of an old man and toy maker who has realized that his lifelong artistic obsession has left him all alone. You, the player, will discover what loneliness compelled him to create. These creations reflects their maker's mind, are seemingly alive, even aware of your presence. You cannot fight back. You are alone. You are being watched. Okay, so I can see the contradictions right there. While updating the game, I have been working on a puzzle game. Ooh, cool. About building beaver dams. That is an interesting theme. I'll see. I'll look forward to see what you got there. It's been going good and bad. That's making games. That's being artistic. Good and bad goes hand in hand. Unfortunately, keep it up though. And you like the story? Oh, that's awesome. It's just a pitch though, so more will come to it. But I'm glad you like it. So the contradiction, if I got the notes correctly, you cannot fight back. I think there's a weird thing there because the game is never meant to be action oriented, or you're never meant to actually be able to fight back. It's all based on a few things. I have a few design pillars. I'm just gonna have to. There you go. So the few design pillars I have. One is ambiguity before certainty, meaning the player has never been told what to do, how to feel. Everything is going to be on them, right? To figure out. Well, I'm going to give them a few clues, but I'm not going to say outright A is equal A, or just like A might be A. It's all up to you. Figure it out. That's the kind of idea. Subtlety over spectacles, meaning do not go fancy on me. Or I shouldn't go fancy. I shouldn't have all these VFX goes all around the place. Nothing supernatural. We're going to be very grounded into reality. Uh, Everything's going to be quite, yeah, subtle. I guess that's kind of what we're going for. And grounded in uncanny, meaning so uncanny is the term. I'm sure you heard of Uncanny Valley, right? The idea of trying to mimic the look and movement and speech, I guess, of humans. But at some point, as you get closer to that sweet spot, you end up in a valley, like it goes down. And in that valley, you have this feeling of this makes me feel creepy. I see where you're going with this. I see that there's human-esque features, but it's just like, yeah, I don't like it. That's one of them. And simplicity, just make sure the what I'm making isn't over the top in the sense of technical difficulty or similar. Just make it simple, right? The waterworks, okay. We expect to be very hard, but the actual moving around and building. Okay, so that's where you're struggling. Okay. Uncanny is fun. Yeah, thank you. It's hard to get right. Yeah, it is. But one thing that I have an advantage in this area, although it was never meant to be that, and it's actually based on my inexperience and inexperience, right? I really haven't been making humanoids as a 3D artist. So dolls, humans, anything on two legs, I guess. Yeah, let's go with that. It's not perfect, but let's go with that. So when I make a doll in the future, based on my inexperience, it's likely going to have uncanny features because I don't know the perfect methods to create a more realistic features on a person, right? So hopefully that will help. And you've gotten into swords, awesome. Swords is always fun. That's one of my most viewed projects on ArtStation, to be honest. Let's see. Oh, you don't have to see my bookmarks, although now you're aware of them. I made this thing way back. I bought this book. Let's see if I can grab it. So I bought this book. I'm gonna cover up myself here. It's the God of War. I'm not sure if you can tell. Is it the right way for you guys, or is it inverted? I don't know. And it's the Art of God of War. I think it's from the 2018 God of War. Either way, in that book, I saw a sword, and I liked the art style. I liked the concept, so I made this, and it's based on that art style. Oh, it's mirrored. Damn. Uh, that sucks. Meaning, I've shown people a mirrored image. Each time I do that, everyone sees a mirrored image. That's smart. Smart. All right, I'll fix that at some point. But yeah, this thing is my most viewed ArtStation piece. I'm assuming it's because I added a tag of God of War. So people just searched for God of War and saw this. And I did have a director for something. I can't remember what project he worked on, but he gave me a like, which is back then for me it was like, oh God, someone likes my stuff. It felt good. It really felt good. Most of your stories are Zelda related. That's fair. I was also considering doing Zelda. Zelda is cool. I like the art style, the concepts, and everything. All right. Either way, we are not here to look at my old stuff. We're going to have to look at new stuff. So, how do we fix the confusion? I've been playing both the, the last two Zelda, the Breath of the Wilds and Tears of a Kingdom, is it? Oh, nice. I should get a big pitcher, like a proper beer canister, right? You haven't started Tears of the Kingdom yet? All right. I mean, Breath of the Wilds is a long game, isn't it? These creatures reflect their maker's mind, or seemingly even aware. So I'm guessing this part makes them feel more alive. So if someone who hasn't read this before might look at it and feel, okay, so they're alive. Nope, nope, nope. Seemingly alive. So I'm going to do that. You cannot fight. You are defenseless. Perhaps I should say that. You, if I say you're defenseless and you cannot fight back, does that give people the feeling that there's going to be at least a few events where they expected to be hurt by something else, like some external threat? You consider writing a script for a short film? That's a fun project, dude. Definitely. If that is something you're really passionate about, do it. Absolutely. I mean, don't wake up a few years from now and feel like you regretting you never done it. So just effing do it, yeah. You have an interesting plot in mind, but you know if you can get the words well. Okay, so first of all, my experience from writing in general is the first draft. And that's the thing. You need to think of this as drafts, right? The first draft you make is going to be terrible, like written terribly. And that's normal. That's really normal. Same with art. Your first sketch, probably not going to look all that good. Your first game idea is probably not going to be that good. That's the natural progression of things, or creations, I should say. So I'd say challenge yourself and say something along the lines of, hey, you know what? Sure, this idea might be terrible. It might be. But I'm going to spend a month. Just do my best. I'm going to write 3 drafts. The first draft is just going to be me scribbling everything down. It's just going to be terrible grammar. It's going to be terrible spelling. Everything's going to be terrible. The second one, I'll focus on getting the message through. The third one, I'm going to focus on spelling and correcting my grammar. And afterwards, sit down and just say, hey, I've done this now. I've done the 3 things I said I would do. The time has passed. It's been a month. Is this still as bad as I thought it would be? Chances are you'll say, no, this is actually way past what I expected of myself. Because you need to learn. If you haven't written a draft or a script before, why expect being able to write the best one? Right? It's the same with walking. It's the same with eating new stuff. It's everything you experience for the first time. Everything you do for the first time will probably be bad. It's just natural. So just do it. Don't hold back. Don't let that small little guy in the back of your head saying, hey, well, you probably can't do it. Just let that thing be. Tell it, hey, let's make a bet. Give me a month. I'll come back to you later. And you're just like, hey, what do you think? Is it really that bad as you thought it would be? Chances are you'll say, no, this is a lot better than I expected. Just do it. And don't put too much pressure on you. Like, so first of all, like kind of figure out where is that pressure coming from? What is the expectations you have of yourself when you make stuff? Is it really realistic to have those expectations? I mean, are professionals doing the same thing? I mean, of course, they have higher expectations because they've done a lot more stuff. They're probably going to think, you know what, the last thing I did, it's not going to be as good as this one because this is the latest one. I'm more experienced now. Just do it. You'll be fine. All right, so you cannot fight back. No. I should probably remove the idea of fight. You're not meant to fight things. You're meant to discover, and you're meant to kind of overcome. I'm sorry if I feel nasally right now because there's something stuck. I don't know what. You cannot fight back. And you're being watched. Maybe that entire sentence needs to be restructured, to be honest. It does feel like something's alive in your vicinity. You're not meant to feel that. Step into the disturbed mind of an old man, blah, blah, blah. You, the player, will discover loneliness compelled him to create. These creations reflect their maker's mind or seemingly alive. How about we do this? How about we do this? Step into the disturbed mind of an old man and toy maker who has realized the lies. I'm sorry, I need to try to do something about this. I feel like I'm talking purely nasally right now. Where is it? Okay, I'll be right back. It doesn't really put me in the mood for, in the correct mood, I should say, for writing horror stuff, though. I should probably find a proper playlist. I don't know. Yeah, probably should. Not sure what to go for, though. Maybe something like a Hollywood blockbuster movie type of thing. Yeah, that's fine. So, unique selling point that creates fear through doubt alone. Ambiguous events make players imagine dangers that might not exist. Fair enough. Without clear external threats, players generate their own fear through paranoia and uncanny yet realistic environments. Yes, I think that's probably the biggest description of this game. We'll go through the design pillars. We mentioned them earlier. What is this? Object in the wrong context. Yeah, usually Grammarly is correct about these things, but now it's just added a lot of bold. Don't like that. There we go. All right, emotional pillars. These will be changed. They are not necessarily emotional pillars. I'm not sure what to call them, to be honest. So how about we do this? I'm just going to do that. Is it Control Alt 5? No, it's not. What was that shortcut for? I don't know what's going on. It's weird. Uh, you wish more games would dive into. Holy shit. Holy shit. Asathagorophobia. The forgetting things. Oh. Oh, you have the fear. Okay. Not irrational though. I think it will be interesting. Sure. Yeah. You do have Amnesia though, like the game series. At least the first games properly looked into that. The later one became more spectacular in my mind. But yeah, there you go. Yeah. No, I think that's a cool idea. And if you feel like that's a project you want to do in the future, you should definitely go for it. But it does sound like you have a lot of stuff going on, so pick your fights for now. What was I doing again? All right, format, text, which is it? Alt Shift 5. Alt Shift 5. Okay, I think I can remember that. There we go. Core mechanics. Okay, so here's the core mechanics. It probably explains more of the game. So the player as a threat, meaning the player will be the one creating their own like dangers, or not necessarily dangers, more like fears, right? I'm going to incentivize them to feel that way. The game provides ambiguity. The player provides fear. Every system is designed to exploit the gap between what the player perceives and what they can confirm. Again, back to what I mentioned earlier. I want players to feel like, okay, is that really happening? Did that really happen? Type of feel. Players' own pattern recognition, memory, and need for certainty will become their own sense of tension. Right? Sinaka, how you doing? Love the idea. Keep it up, bro. Thank you. Really appreciate that. Sometimes just keeping that spirit up. Every now and then, you'll always have that doubt, right? It'll come back. You'll have to fight it off every time. The only thing I'm kind of not getting right now, which is a big deal, but I'll think I'll discover it as I go about making like a prototype and things like that. So imagine this scenario where one, the player enters whatever playing area you've designed, right? And they will start by experiencing a few things, very subtle things. Their goal is to kind of discover what happened in this house. And as they go along, at some point, there needs to be like a point of either they won the game, or they've lost. So that win lost state, I haven't figured it out yet. When will the game end? Type of question. How will the player potentially win the game? I'm leaning into, if you've discovered the truth, what happened, then within quotation, you won the game. But what if you can't find it? How long should a player just walk around? That balance, I don't know. Maybe I should just have people go through the game. Maybe I should make it. Maybe the idea is more of an experience rather than a pure 100% game. Although that is an experience in and of itself. Maybe I should just have the player start, just walk around, make sure it's not super obvious. It should be a challenge, right? But enough that they can go through it and experience everything I want them to experience, right? Maybe that is the goal for this. Yeah. Probably. And it kind of ties into the other things. Another core system mechanic I have is the environmental observation, which means the player takes in the environment through simple movements and observations. So nothing too spectacular. It's all about just kind of walking, maybe even crouching, maybe at points being able to run. But that kind of goes against the design pillars of everything being subtle and you're not being able to fight back. You're meant to be defensive. But if you can run, that's kind of a defense, right? Being able to flee from the danger, which may or may not exist. Any tools available to players grounded in reality. So I'm going for it. Likely not going for any HUD. No, I don't like that. Let's do that. No HUD, no prompts, no gamified mechanics. So you're not going to have like infrared sights or things like that. It's all going to be look at the screen and observe. Can you find what's going on? Yeah, and finally, understanding the environment relies on the player's own attention and memory. I was considering whether or not to add a log, a way for the player to kind of go back and look at what they've found, but I'm not sure. Is that interesting for people? Does that fit with the mechanic? I might have to make it an exception at that point, having people being able to read about what they've discovered. It opens up the idea of them being able to keep up with the lore. I'm not sure. I'm not sure what much lore there will be, to be honest. Probably quite a bit. Visibility. The player can't see everything, so it's quite um, hard for them to view everything, right? Details of space are obscured by shadow. Not necessarily have to be shadow, but that's likely what it will be. Everything's going to be quite dark. I'm looking at this as a scenario where the house is abandoned, or at least looks abandoned. It all depends on whether or not the final reveal involves the toy maker or not. The player is allowed a fixed weak light source, meaning you can't really do anything with it other than just look around. Navigation with limitations adds to the sense of defenselessness and vulnerability. You have nothing other than just the ability to walk and look at things. I think that could be cool. The invisible loose state. This one is I'm working on that one. The player's never told they can win or lose. A single critical discovery exists within the game. Again, why do I do that? The truth of what the toy maker has done. Yeah, that's the critical discovery. What has the toy maker done? What has this? Again, I'm going to maybe call him something else in the future. Toy maker sounds weird. I might call it something else. So yeah, the idea is that you need to discover this. The invisible loose state. Why did I call it invisible loose state? The player's own curiosity and tension determine whether they find it. Yeah. If they do, they confront the full horror. Yes. If they don't, the game ends quietly, and the player may never know they missed anything at all. Yeah, I think we can remove that part. Other than that, we could probably keep most of those. So how about this? I think that could work. Of course, we need this to be bold. Okay. Why should I call it emotional? I shouldn't. That's the answer to that question. Maybe I shouldn't have this part at all. Because most of these should already be reflected by the design pillars. And I think they are. Narrative external stimuli on the left, internal biology sound. Yeah, there you go. Yeah, I think I'm already. The absence of external stimuli and only being left with internal biology sounds can be tension driven. Yeah, exactly. And that's this down here when your own body becomes the loudest thing in the room. Yep. I think this could be completely removed. There you go. Hmm. What else? Have I answered some of my questions then? How do I keep players immersed in scenarios without using external threats? That's a good question. I mean, so the main idea is to keep up with the notion that there might be something out there, and I want the player to internalize that doubt, that fear, and I want them to exaggerate it through themselves. Right? Why aren't there any answers? Why isn't anything clear? And that uncertainty and more stuff should elevate some kind of fear. The only thing that I think could kind of damper that feeling is the fact that people are at home in reality, sitting at their computers, probably in one of the safest environments they can be in. So, how do you take them away from that feeling, put them into a immersive scenario where they can internalize everything? I don't know. I don't know, but that is a challenge I need to figure out. How do I keep the scout down to a reasonable level? Well, I think that's quite easy. You just don't add stuff or be very critical to the things I want to add. I think also for now, I should create some kind of MVP and have that be released to people. Ask people to try it, friends, family. Not the best. Oh, okay, so here's the thing. As grateful I am to my family and friends, they are not great quality insurance testers or game testers in general. And the big reason is they're likely going to say things just to uh, chances are they're not going to be super critical. It's a high chance. So I'd say try to find people who aren't related to you or have any connections to other than maybe games and ask them for feedback if possible. No, it's not always possible. The same goes, to be honest, between a streamer and his like core audience. There might be too much of a I just want to be on your good side, intentional or not. I think that's unavoidable to a certain extent. You can probably just tone it down, and you can be kind of honest with yourself and whoever game you're trying. But yeah, I think it's better to find someone unrelated to yourself if possible. But how do I keep it down? You know what? I'm just gonna say, just make less stuff. The, the big one right now, to be honest, is models. The number of models I will have to make for this game is quite astounding, to be honest. Unless I compromise. But if I have a scenario where a toy maker who has been working for decades to make toys, how is that not a scenario where you would have maybe thousands of things related to toy making and toys inside this environment? Yeah. Holy shit. Sorry. Something's really scratching my nose right now. What are the emotions I want to convey? So, somberness, eeriness, distress. I'm going to remove that completely. I believe my game pillars should answer that question. What is the foundational experience and how does it work? And does it work, actually, it says. I don't know if it works or not. That's why I have to make an MVP. The foundational experience, again, I think my design pillars answers that quite well. So I'm going to remove that too. And goal, that's the big one. I think I kind of got that down in the sense I kind of verbalized it earlier. I want the player to experience. Yeah, I'm trying to figure out how to put that into words. Um, I need to work on that. Is it answered by any of these? I guess as simple as the end goal is for the player to discover the truth. And doing that, while doing that, I should say, they should experience grounded horror. It's a very simplified version, I think. All right. Yep. I need to tell myself, keep reminding myself, this, sure, I want this to be well structured. I want to be clear what's going on. But at the same time, I don't know if this is going to be fun. I just don't. So at some point, I need to stop making this game document, right? I need to make the game. So, yeah. Let's see if we can go through everything else. I do have some old notes. Reference images, yeah, that's fine. We can remove that in a second. I should probably keep all these. I'm gonna do this though. Let's cross that out. What is the heading? Apply. All right, that was number. There you go. You are number 2. Is that really? Apparently. How about we make you number 3 instead? Like so. That's a lot of stuff I noted down. Where did I get this from? I can't remember. I'm pretty sure I didn't write it myself. Somehow I got it from some website or I don't know. Apply and apply. What time is it? Almost 7. All right. Here we go. What's going on? What? What? Why? Wait, what? What? Why can't I click on this part? Header? What the What? No. Wait, what? I don't want headers. Why do I have headers? Remove header. Does that mean something happened up here? No. Everything's fine. What? When did I add headers? And now this is gone. God, what's going on? Okay, let's do that. Uh, sometimes Google Docs, sometimes. There we go. And I can do this. I'm assuming you're going to be like so. All right. There you go. No, wait, what? God damn it. How about that then? There you go. That's something. All right. Now that should be all right. Uh, we already made the first draft, dude. Easy, not that hard. No, okay, so here's my second tip. Do what you want. Here's my recommendation. You've created your first draft, right? I'd say put it away for now, just for 1 or 2 days, maybe even 3, but just put it away for time and then get back to it. And the big reason why is because you need to reset and look at it with fresh eyes. I can't tell you how many times I've done something for the first time or the second thousandth of time, and I put it away and got back to it later, and there's new revelations. Either I love what I've done, or I realize what I did was absolutely terrible, but I can see how to fix it. So that is my recommendation now. You made your first draft, to put it aside for now. Also, it's late, right? Just put it aside, work on something else, or do something completely different, then get back to it. It's about a detective who's trying to find a master criminal and in experiments. Oh, right. And you're not spoiling it. That's a good point. It's also your first draft. You shouldn't be talking about spoiling points at that point. That's a lot of the same words. Don't ignore that. Either way, good job, dude. I'm really happy you got it done, because now you can take the next step. That's all about 1,000 steps, right? Just one step at a time. By the way, can I do this? Does that look better to you guys? It does. Oh, yes. Well, now I can't see chat. That's unfortunate. Yeah, I've done this thing. I'm trying a new layout for my Twitch stream. I used to have everything on my second monitor, but as someone pointed out fairly, is that I would look like this. I would stare at this side of the like everything would be, this would be my focus, right? So, all right. So how to fix that? Well, I do have a widescreen, and it's big enough to have a regular window for my workspace, like in the center. Can't really see what I'm doing. So everything is centered. But chat and activities, everything I need to know for Twitch is on the side. And here's the thing. If you're a streamer and you use OBS, I highly recommend this thing. Let's see if I can figure out the name of it. So there is a plugin for OBS. And if I'm not mistaken, I believe it's called Dock Sets or something. No, sorry, it's JR Docky. JR Docky. Highly recommend, because you're allowed. It allows you to save your layouts, and you can move it around just and then click a single button in the menu, and it's all back. It's amazing. Would you rather have infinite layouts but no chat, or infinite chat but no chat? I honestly, I don't want any of those, to be honest. Dude, it's like, do you want this thing that makes no sense, or do you want this thing that makes no sense? It's not meant to make that much sense. Fair enough. That's fair. I love those type of questions, or the paradoxical questions. Like, if you do want this, yeah, but if you do it, then something will happen over here. It's now I'm just rambling, but you love paradoxical questions. Should I consider Should I consider this done? Or should I go through reference images? How about we do that, to be honest? I'm just gonna have PureRef open up. You don't need to see that part. Apparently you do. All right. How about that? Let's do this. You don't need to see all of these things. There we go. Nope. Did I click it twice? No, I should be fine. Would you would you rather have waffle than, okay, let's try this. Would you, it says feather, but I'm assuming you might mean rather, have a waffle that, yeah, okay, there you go, you confirmed it, thank you. Waffle that regenerates infinitely, or a bag that has infinite tiny waffles, neither or which will rot or get stale. A weird sensor. Did it censor somewhere? All right, the point is though, so in the end, do I want infinite waffles? I kind of, either scenario will give me infinite waffles. So it's just a matter of, do I want tiny waffles as a preference, or do I want to have big waffles as my preference? Which do I prefer? Okay, I have two things, and none of them allows me to pick either side, but I'll pick a side just in a second. All right. So the first one, small waffles, infinitely small waffles. Imagine the idea of combining them like a cereal with something. You can experiment a bit more, right? That sounds great. And it will be easy to eat and everything. You can have it as snacks, blah, blah, everything. I'm being very rational or practical right now. The downside is, and this is me, this is how I consume things I love. If I have candy, for example, or waffles, or anything that I love to eat somewhere in my house, just ready, I can just go up, just pick it and eat. I will eat everything. I won't stop. I can't stop. I'm like a Labrador in that sense. I just can't stop eating. So that's why you never see candy in my house or in my apartment, because I just eat it straight away. It's not going to last more than 10 minutes. So that's the downside with small waffles. The upside with then going to big waffles is that might be harder to do to eat. It might be hard to prepare and everything. It might, maybe not. No, let's say it out loud. All right, I think I made up my mind. I can't believe I spent 10 minutes trying to figure this out. To answer your question, MHL, I go with big waffles, because I can make small waffles out of the big one, and it's waffles. So okay, so I'll add another question to you guys. Throw one to you. What would you have to your waffles? It would be delivered tomorrow. What was that, an order? Did I just order something? No, I'm fine, thank you. I just made an order of infinite waffles. Awesome. But what is the side? What would you add waffles? Like here in Sweden, what's very common is to do like vanilla ice cream or just regular jam. Syrup and strawberries. Syrup and strawberries? I've never thought of adding strawberries and syrup together. And waffles, of course, but still. Huh. I mean, yeah. I can see that working, right? I don't think it's going to outcompete vanilla ice cream and jam, especially raspberry jam. Oh, raspberry jam and ice cream with waffles. Oh, that's so hard to beat. That's one of the most lukewarm, within quotation, threats I've ever heard. I would sneak around your house, replace every waffle before he gets old. All right, do that, dude. Plus, I'll never be alone. Thank you. Well, I'm not sure what to think about the fact that you believe I'm alone, but all right. But yes, I will not be alone if you continuously sneak around my house replacing my waffles. I'm gonna be honest with you, dude. That's kind of scary because you don't know that. I won't know that's you, right? I'm assuming. Ah, maybe that's a horror game. One of those SCP creatures. I wonder if there is something like a waffle man. If anything, you might have discovered something cool. Uh, waffle man concept horror. Well, that's the ice cream man from hell, apparently. The Waffle House at the edge of the woods. Tales from the creeps. Creeps? What? Well, what is this? Why would there be a Reddit page where creeps tells you tales? That makes no sense. All right. So, looking at reference stuff, now that we figure out the secrets about waffles and where they come from, apparently MHL is responsible. And I'm called the creations. Maybe I shouldn't. I did do these. So let's see what is it I'm looking at. I should probably add all of these to that tab down there. Okay, so let's do that. Are you locked? You are locked. Let's unlock you. No, you're not. There we go. No, okay, I forgot about that. I can't do that part. Can I do this? I don't like doing that. Can I ungroup them somehow? Can't remember how I did this. Uh, grayscale, hierarchy, undo, paste, mode, save, options. How did I do this? I know that if I do that, I have a hierarchy. Creations. Is it as simple as... Did I lock the window? No. All right. Is as simple as this. I'm going to select all of these and drag and drop them into this one. It is awesome. Perfect. Thank God. And I'm going to grab all of these, size them down a bit. I think that's good. Then we can lock this one. What else? Why did I put these to the side like that? I'm not sure. It should be part of creations, I think. About that. Oh, apparently not. There you go. All right. These part of random toys, random references. There we go. These are like why I chose these are based purely color wise, so that I have something to look at for wear and tear, um, grime, grunge, whatever you want to call it. Like, what are the colors? Looking at these, they're quite. Should I call them desaturated? It's not really sharp. There's no sharpness to the colors anymore. And that is more architecture. How did I? Can I? How did I add these together? Mode. No. Images. Selection. Normalize line, selection, select all. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Did I do this? I did. Control G for group. Fair enough. But let's undo that. Let's resize, normalize, do size. Okay, that was already done. Then do Control N. Let's increase this to this 36 or 72. I think it's 72. Architecture is not 72. So it's 36. There we go. And that this part, select them all, and do group. There you go. So automatically I'll have a name to my group. Perfect. That is not 72. No way. Why is that set as 72? All right. How about we do this then? What's going on? Why is it that big difference in size? Makes no sense. All right. It's not really that big of a deal. It just makes no sense. And there we go. It could be that the font size might be relevant to a few things, like the canvas size or perhaps the group size or something along those lines. Did it change? What if I do this? Maybe. I don't know. These would definitely be some kind of random stuff, right? So, do this. Random references again. Or maybe not as random as maybe, or maybe they are. That's definitely random. Yeah, it's random. Blueprints. Did I have a blueprint? I did have a blueprint. Let's do that. Select all of these. And there we go. Let's do save. So what now? So with all of this, what else can I do? I get the feeling that for now, I can't really do much more about references. I have a rough understanding of where I want to go, lighting and atmospheric wise. I like the idea of having a lot of contrast, shadows, playing around with lights quite a bit. It's going to be dark, moody. Yeah, I get that feeling. The random reference is more, hey, just look at these things. There's some really cool stuff. Uh, Imagine seeing this thing, like screaming horse. Kind of cool idea. This thing in the corner, yeah. Some artistic, almost alive poses. You'll discover later on. You'll have these properties. This is more of a hero piece, I guess. My banker should discern that, put them to the side, whether or not they will be hero pieces or not. Then we have workshop stuff, some inspirations, like work in progress or just general layouts, architecture, grime again, lighting, wall damage. Yeah, I think we do have most. This is also kind of random. I just kind of like the idea of having this as a cover art. Not sure if I'll need a cover art for anything, but just the idea of this being like the front page or the page or the thumbnail for the game. Yeah. Okay. 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 Hmm. The next step will be Unreal, and I'm going to create a sandbox level, a place where I can like kind of have an asset zoo of stuff and play around with a few ideas. And I do, or maybe, no, sorry, I need to probably look at the MVP. Like, what's the minimal viable product? Yeah, or I can do that offline. Either way. Okay, so let's do this. I'm not going to drag my thought thinking out loud, or never mind, forget the last 10 seconds. We're going to do this. We're going to have ads in any second. There's a slight delay between me and Twitch, apparently. Either way, we're going to have a 2-minute break. And I'm going to do some stretching, just walk around a bit. It does help to loosen up the thought process. Once I'm back, I'll have a decision whether or not we should focus on the MVP or just open Unreal and play around a bit. So, all right, that's the break. Do some stretches, and I'll be right back. There we go. I'm back. All right, I've made a decision. We're going to hold on to, hold off the idea of working in Unreal for now, just a bit. I need, and I feel the need to write down the MVP, or at least start out, do a rough outline. So we're going to focus on that for just a little bit. I could probably just remove this entire thing, to be honest. Yes. Yes, we'll do that. These are old stuff. Introduction, game summary. We don't need that. Play experience. Do I need that? Can I spell? I can't spell. I think the experience is there. So let's move that. Platform. Yes, let's keep platform. Development software. Sure, we can keep that. Genre. Target audience. I should probably write that down too. Got a few other things we can look at. Gameplay overview. These are from a game doc example. So a few of these are really important. We're going to focus a bit on that. But for now, I think I'm going to work on the MVP. All of this is a living document, right? So everything's going to be updated as we go along. But I think it's important to have a cohesive vision when you start out. It doesn't have to be the final vision, but it needs to be at least a starting point that you and potentially anyone else who joins the project has to have some kind of understanding. We're starting from this point. We might want to go in different directions later on, but at least we have the same starting point. So when we get to the point where we're starting to drift apart a bit, we can kind of, hey, look, slow down. Let's look what we got and then what we started and everything. Should we really go down that path or this path? It's just a common point to start. Right. So what should the MVP? So let's just look at this. The MVP is identifies the smallest playable version of your game that tests whether its core mechanics are fun and its design assumptions hold. It strips away polish and secondary features to answer one question early. Does the foundational yes experience work? All right. So basically what we need is a level. I'm just going to write things that comes to mind right now. A level, movement, camera, I guess some type of sound effects, because that is going to be like heavily involved in the experience, right? Events. And by events, I'm referring to those who the events that quantum makes the play question their memory and perception, right? That was a big deal. Events such as I'm just gonna write out have the player can't spell have the player question their memory and perception. I think that's how it's spelled. Yeah. So one level, simple movement with the camera. This is going to be first person. Movement, which is just going to be walking. Single level works for now. Unsure what we need for SFX. How about VFX? Do we need that? Is VFX needed? It kind of depends. Does dust particles? No, that's art stuff. I mean, that's more polish. That's more secondary. I don't think VFX is needed for a MVP. It doesn't really enhance any of the core stuff, does it? Or the core mechanics again. Player has a threat, so we need to make sure the player questions themselves. Environmental observation, we need something to observe. That will be objectives. Observation. Assets. It's a terrible explanation, but let's go with that. What else? Visibility. Yes, we need to test the visibility. So lighting. No, let's do that. We need lighting. Test the level of visibility, I assume. That's not spelled correctly. Yep. What else? The lose state. Players never told they can win or lose. Single critical discovery exists within the game. Okay, so it needs to be assets, single crit. I'm not sure about this one, to be honest. Because the single critical discovery will be kind of the final truth, right? So if I add that to the MVP, I think rather than like spoiling the final big truth, it's more like, hey, find this asset. No, that's not going to work. It's not like you're going to walk around, click stuff. It's not like a point and click adventure, this thing. I think perhaps objectives is purely, can I scare the player with using this idea of trying to deceive them through their memories and through their perception. I think objectives might not be that interesting based on that. So let's do that for now. And this is more lore rather than, is it? Is it really a core mechanic? I'm not. I'm going to question whether or not that is actually a core mechanic. I'm going to do that for now. Got some inspiration through music. Some question their memory perception. All right. So the smallest level, smallest playable version of this game. I'm just going to emphasize on that point, mostly for myself, will be a level, walking, first person camera view, some type of VFX effects, I believe. But what? I don't know. VFX, no. Objective. I mean, I guess we're going to have some objective, right? Otherwise, don't even know what we're testing. Lighting, definitely, we need to figure out whether or not what the level of shadows and visuals we can impair for the player to still feel like it's a playable game. And events, of course, we need the player to have them question the memories and perception. Okay, fair enough. I think those are initially like pretty good points. Nothing comes to mind right now. Let's go for some long-hanging fruit. I can probably answer these questions fairly quick. So it's definitely going to be a Blender. I'm guessing we're going to go with Blender 4. When's the release for Blender 5? Pretty sure it's in the making. Blender 5, maybe it's even been released. It looks like it's been released. But it's not the long-term support on that one. So for now, let's go 4.5. Unreal Engine, of course. In this case, it's going to be A, of course. And it's going to be 5. Do we need to focus on the specific version? I'm going to go with 5.7 as the bare minimum. But I'm also going to add a plus. Not important at all, but I think starting with a one version of an engine that's hopefully stable would probably be the best, and then keep to that unless there's some really important update that either fixes a broken feature or adds a new feature that you feel like it's needed for the game. Otherwise, I wouldn't say you need to update, right? What else? I guess Adobe Substance Suite. You're gonna need that. Is it suite like that or like that? It seems like it is with an E. And that, let's just do this. I'm going to be a designer and painter. My head, there we go. Substance paint, there we go. What else do we need? Should I write down what kind of source control I'm using? I don't think that's necessary. Is that all? No. It needs to be more than this, right? It's texturing. That's 3D modeling. Game engine. Some type of audio software I use. Yeah, and the one that comes to mind is it Audacity? Yeah, Audacity. Let's put that within like a question mark. I've never really worked personally with sound before, so we'll see if that is necessary. Who are the target audience though? That's probably important. So who are my who's my target audience? Who is, I guess. Hmm. Do I have an example somewhere? Out of coffee. The horror. Let's see. I should have it somewhere. A document. Somewhere. Is it on this page? Saw old stuff. Well, I can find it again. It's just kind of annoying. Just give me a second. I need to do some stuff that you guys don't need to see. Where is it? Come on. There we go. Next is I can do that. So now I can do this. And we're going for just so you know, YouTube. Some of you've already figured it out, I guess, but I do have music going on Twitch side. So if you see me moving my mouth but not saying anything or just kind of head bobbing, it's because I'm listening to music. There we go. So here's an example. Let's do that. So this example you can find on a website called, I need to look that up. Actually, we don't need that blur. We can do this. Develop dot games. Highly recommend. There's a lot of good stuff going on there. So we do have this part right there giving us a example. This example is called Max Flux. At least that's the name of the game that they are showing us. So it's really good stuff. And we are looking for this part. And what does it say? Without heavy or complicated ideas and intuitive to grasp mechanics, this game is marketed to the least casual gameplayers. Fair enough. Who are up for puzzling challenges as well as more veteran players for solving complicated problems. That is fair. Okay, let's just borrow that. So let's go back and just paste that in. That is terrible. What's going on? Okay, apply. And we're not going to use this. We're not going to steal it. We're just going to borrow it for a while. So without heavy or complicated ideas, meaning they're looking at their game and thinking, hey, this is not a complicated stuff. Uh, and the mechanics are easy to understand. That's my interpretation of what they're saying. So we're going to market this towards casual gameplayers. Fair enough. So what is the difference then? So if we look at my stuff, the idea, is this complicated? No, I wouldn't say it's necessarily complicated, but it's also maybe not intuitive. Not having in the game. Uh, so the player, this is going to have to be changed at some point. The player who is up for a horror experience. Horror experience, a subtle, let's call it that, subtle slash grounded horror experience. Oops, wrong button. All right. So it's not necessarily for, is it casual though? I wouldn't say the mechanics themselves are that difficult. Let's just do this without mechanics. Right? I mean, as far as I can tell, what we're aiming for right now is just purely walk up to stuff, click it, and try to figure out what's going on. Would that be called puzzles, though? Is it aimed for like horror buffs? People who consume horror games and the genre in general? Non-casual, I guess? Or is it casual? Casual horror players, maybe. Players is up for a subtle grounded horror experience without difficult mechanics. Casual horror game players. Should I mention something about the idea of? No, I think that's within horror itself. Casual and veteran horror players, perhaps. Right? I don't see why I shouldn't include both. I don't think anything from the game kind of excludes. It's more like, do you like horror? Yeah, play this game. Fair. All right, so that's at least a few notes. We've done these. Apart from maybe secondary mechanics, I haven't really done that. Oh, there we go. Sorry, I'm just changing size. Might be a bit jarring, but bear with me. All right, so let's do that, and that. Okay. Let's do a VIP on that one. So what else? Core concept, gameplay overview. What is the gameplay overview? What is the main idea? Concept. The player controls a mass of player cells, each with individual boost. So this is more like a description of the gameplay. That's fair. Do I need it though? Do I need it? I mean, I do have the core system mechanics, which should be more than enough, right? Grounded in uncanny realism. I mean, I have the design pillars. I don't think I need that part. And where would I put it? Inspirations. I feel like I'm missing something right there. Introduction. Theme interpretation. Sacrifices strength. Okay. The player voluntarily offers something they would otherwise use their benefits to gain something else if used in its stead. Okay. Sacrifice within. No, no. This might not be too bad to include. Where to put it though? Let's see. Concept. Okay. What's the difference between concept and introduction? Okay, so that's more of a, hey, I'm aiming for this type of thing. Okay. So core mechanics will be part of concept. That's fair. So what if we do this? Let's do that. Do an apply. This would then become, there we go. And inspiration will be its own. That's perfect. Introduction, inspirations. Ooh, have I included game inspiration? I don't think I have. What? What? Huh. Interesting. Let's look at that another point. I mean, honestly, to be transparent, I have used AI to create large portions of this. And I've mentioned this before. I'm not necessarily, I'm not against AI when it comes to this. I think it is a tool, though. So I personally, this is all about me right now, selfish little me. The way I look at AI is I try to write as much as possible myself, then ask AI, hey, what do you think? And hopefully that will unlock something for me personally when I read whatever I get back. Copy paste doesn't really work. I've tried that before in a moment of weakness, or rather just as a test. Asked AI to more or less make most of the documents. At that point, I kind of went back and forth a bit with AI, just asking it, "Hey, no, don't do that. Please do this instead." And we just went back and forth. And when I felt happy what I was reading, I asked I just copy pasted it over to my document. But that document turned out in the end to be quite difficult for me to read. I didn't feel like it was mine. The idea wasn't mine. So now I went back and yes, I'm still using AI, but it's more like, hey, I've written this. I've taken the time to figure this section out, at least to an extent. Have a look at it. Can you find something that feels contradictive in this? And then I just went, every answer I get back, I really look over it critically. It's like, is this really what I want? Does it really go with my initial inspiration and design idea? If it doesn't, then I just like, nope, be gone. I'm really more critical. That's the thing. It's like Googling, kind of. I can Google 1,000 horror ideas that's similar or has inspiration similar to mine, but I still need to be critical and tell, hey, that thing I just read, it sounds really cool, but does it work for me? Which is really important when it comes to design pillars. I need to feel, hey, is this really what I want to make? And everything I find, whether it's from AI, whether it's Google search, Stack Overflow, whatever, needs to find kind of, does it align with these things? So yeah, so that Grammarly thing, hey, this looks like AI. That's fair. AI has been involved. Maybe it's been involved too much. I should take that into account. So what else? Right. So in the introduction, it did it add some inspirations or inspirational games. How about we put it right there? And this is going to be number 3, I think. That didn't work. Like that. There we go. Not sure why Google Doc does that. When I try to use its shortcut to pick a heading, sorry, it is Alt Control and whatever button I want. So if I want heading 1, I'm just going to press 1. Heading 2, you get it. But for some reason, it adds that symbol each time. It's not a big deal, But let's say I do this. I'm just going to write a header. I'm going to do that. I'm just going to write another header. And like, oh, I want that to be header 4. Pop. And it's gone. It's still header 4, but my text is gone. So I need to do a control Z and just, I don't know. Something about Google Docs that part is really annoying. Should I be... That should be number 2, shouldn't it? There we go. Nope, that's not what I wanted. But there we go. So, this is inspiration. There we go. So that's game 1. I just the game 2. Game 3. There we go. So that's the first game. What are the games that inspired me to make this? I think it's unavoidable, but Amnesia is probably the first game that kind of got me into this. But not any Amnesia. Amnesia, the first one, Amnesia, which will make it the Dark Descent, right? It's not Amnesia, it's Amnesia, all right. Okay, and I probably need to add why, right? What is Amnesia? What I picked it. All right, yeah, exactly. Restrict movement, fair enough. So why Amnesia? Amnesia. Right. Is it do not have right? So one thing I also like with Amnesia, sure, the idea of defenselessness, which is a big part of the game I'm making. Like you can't really do anything. Everything is internalized. There's no real tool you can pick up to fight back whatever's threatening you, whether it's yourself or something else. But one thing I like, so okay, just backtrack a bit. I like the idea. What Amnesia does early on is that they don't introduce the monster, like you can't really see it early on. It takes quite some time before you'll get a visual of the monster. You get sound effects, you get some indications that there's something out there, but you're never really in any danger for the first, I don't know, I can't really say given a time, but it takes quite some time before you get into and see the monster itself and finally be in danger. The threat is always kind of looming, but it's never realized. Actually realized. So I think that is kind of what I like. Let's do that. The threats are implied during early gameplay. Let's go with that. And No. I'm gonna have to rewrite everything probably at some point. That's a terrible sentence, but I need to get it down. Just to get it down on paper for now. So the reason I like Amnesia is that it puts the player in scenarios of helplessness. Players don't have the tools to fight back against external threats. Threats are implied, are often, I should say, probably often implied. There's no danger in the early game stages. I guess that's fair. So what else do I like? We do have layers of fear, right? And I guess I could write these down, which is fears to fathom, isn't it? I'm not sure about that one. Let's add a question mark. So what is about layers of fear that I like? I think the big thing that I got back to is how layers of no sorry yeah layers of fear brought you back to some kind of hub, and that was something that you kind of had with you throughout the game. So as you progress, as things kind of went downhill, if you want, you'll see how the hub changed. So it's more of a maybe the storytelling in the game is more interesting. Let's see what's going on. Do I have ads soon? Yeah, okay. We're also gonna have more ads in a second. I feel like has it already been that long? Apparently it has. Yeah, all right, apparently. Layers of fear. Now we can just make notes. Story telling. That's definitely not what I wanted. Nope, that's not what I want either. Pacing. And all right, ads are going on Twitch side, so we're going to take a little break. Again, I'm going to stretch my legs, get some blood into them, and I'll see you all in, gotta give it like a minute and a half. All right, so see you all in bits. So, layers of fear. Why I liked it: storytelling, pacing, environmental changes that update as a player progresses through the story. Um, let's do that. It's not necessarily the environmental stuff that I remember the most. It's more like the hub within quotation. If I remember correctly, the game had you return to this art gallery. It's not the right word, but the place the artist draw makes their painting. And each time you come back, something changed. Often, Well, it was always this painting, right? That's maybe I'm thinking the game might change. No, I'm gonna stay the course. Stay the course. Let's just do this. Atmo sphere. I know these are the things I like about the game. I like the atmosphere. I like the storytelling. I like the pacing, everything like that. And I think that it did all of those things great. I'm also gonna do with spectacular effects. That's also something I do want to say it did. It had quite a lot of effects, visual effects, right? Here's to Phantom within, and I added a question mark. The question mark is from whether or not I find the game to be inspirational for this project itself. I do like it being more grounded. Game and store lore wise, it's more grounded in reality than the other ones. I mean, Layers of Fear, of course, mentions a lot of stuff that do exist in reality. Same goes for Amnesia, but the difference is that Fears to Phantom feels like, hey, I do believe the concept of Fears to Phantom is that they picked Reddit posts of people's real experiences. Whether or not you believe those experiences or not, that's completely different. But at least they're meant to be part of, like, yeah, I've experienced this. This is my story I'm telling, and they borrowed or it's been inspired by those stories. So it's quite grounded, grounded storytelling. It's not very spelled storytelling. Uh, the atmosphere is also there, especially the idea, I guess, of as players we scare ourselves, we build up the scare. That's more part. The few games I've seen, the few Let's Plays I've seen, I never play them myself. Probably should. But what I've seen is the game never, or very rarely have what I would call classic horror scares, which is something with an axe chasing you or a monster or something like that. There's one where apparently there's a cult, and that cult hunts you at some point during that gameplay or that gaming session. So grounded storytelling, sure. Subtle scares, I guess, is probably there is some jump scares, which I'm not a super fan of. I'm gonna call it subtle scares, internalized levels of scare, if that makes sense. Meaning the level of scare you feel is based on your own internalized escalation of the situation. Um, some uncomfortableness to it too. What other games have inspired me? Have I written that down? Please tell me I've written these things down somewhere. Doesn't look like I have. That is annoying. Why didn't I do that? Or I did and removed it at some point. We're gonna expand on these probably off stream though. Some things I just can't do on stream because it's just the pressure of being entertaining or communicating with chats at the same time. Sometimes I feel like I can't really verbalize stuff. So a few of these will be updated off stream. I'll inform everyone who's curious about it eventually once I've done that. For now, we just notes are fine. So design pillars, we're done with that part. What is it? What else should we probably have a look at? Each of the 15 levels pose a solid shortcut, but perhaps complex. I love that they just like, I'm gonna make 15 levels. My guess is there were some adjustments to this afterwards, or these are designers or developers who have really high level of experience or like a lot of experiences a lot of experience making games. I made a lot of these types of games before. I like how they really like, yeah, this is for graphics, this is for programming, and this is for music and SFX. Not sure if I need that. This is a solely dev project. And genre is already been mentioned numbers of times. Player experience. I might have to do something with this. I feel the way they formalized or contextualized the player experience is a lot more, it's clearer than I've done. Let's see if we can find, where have I kind of mentioned that? I'm guessing it's in the elevator pitch and the unique selling points. These are not really structured. They're more high level type of stuff, if that makes sense. Inspiration, yeah. How about we add player experience to this part down here? That looks terrible, and it's meant to be that because I need to do this. Apply. That is number 2. No, it's not number 2. It's actually number 3. No, it's 2. That didn't work. See, that's what I'm saying when I'm trying to explain what's happening. I can't really use the shortcut. Should it be introduction? Um, I don't need an introduction section, I think. Do I? Maybe I do. Looking at this. That's terrible. Yeah. Okay, we're going to do some formatting. Do that. Can move. Nope. 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 Press the right buttons, please. There we go. Do that. Um, there we go. Should. Oh, and also this needs to be format text capitalization uppercase. Introduction. I don't think that needs to be part of introduction. But where should I put it? What is the name of that? Maybe that's the concept, by the way. Yeah, that's more of the concept. Isn't it? Why not? Why not? Let's do that. Apply. Oh, I do have a concept down there. So how about we do this, please? There we go. That looks a lot better, doesn't it? Don't need that. There we go. Inspirations. I do already have one. How have you done this? You've done it that way. Okay. The only thing I kind of feel like this document may be confusing new developers is this part right here. This looks like it's from the final game type of thing. I think it is, to be honest. And maybe you would go back eventually, like after you've done a few tweaks, you finalize the art, whatever you want to call it, and you update your document like this. I don't know if that's needed though. I don't know. It feels like this is kind of confusing telling people, hey, you need all of this before you make a game. You don't. You don't need all this. This is probably what they developed afterwards. Or yeah, sure, pre-production, sure. And that is where the document is. So maybe I'm being too critical. Let's see. So concept, conclude, primary, secondary art. Now I have this thing. Maybe I should remove this part completely. And also move this part to inspiration. How about that? Oh, no, it's meant to be above player experience. There we go. Um, let's do this. There we go. Yeah, I think we can live with that part. So let's see if we can up the rest. Got some notes. So these are the concept stuff that we're referring to earlier. I should probably remove all this because I kind of made a mistake of. Oh, it's on that part. Yeah. That's just no. All of this be gone. Clean up a bit. There we go. Oh, I did have. I was wondering, didn't I make? I did. I did make an inspiration source. All right. Missed that completely. First person horror physics based interactions. Is it? Is it physics based? Yeah. That was an important part. I want the like opening of drawers and things like that to be physics based. I'm pretty sure I do want that. So uh, movement. I think that is what I want. Isn't it physics based? The amnesia stuff. Maybe it isn't. How about that? What else? Collectible notes, puzzles, combination locks. Do I want this part? It would be interesting, wouldn't it, to have you need to find stuff in order to move on. It's not just about walking around and looking. I think it needs to be part of it. Which probably will change some of the design pillars I've done. Where should we put this? Um, that. Which means core mechanics likely needs an update. So I'm just going to do this. Do you spell incorporate? Is it two R's? No, incorporate. All right, makes sense. I think. All right. 19th century, the saturated color, spare sliding. Career eyes, that's a career. The dead wife. Do I need to be this specific? I'm sure I do. I can still keep this part. I don't have to be that specific in the main page. Resident Evil Village, of course. Should be this, right? Yeah. First shooter with resource management, crafting inventory puzzles, hub-based village connecting four distinct. None of that is actually going to be in this game. Eastern European village setting inspired by Romania. Yeah, fair enough. Gothic horror aesthetics. No, I'm not going for goth horror. I think I am. Can't really tell what goth horror is. Well, Resident Evil is, I guess. A mix of decaying castles, dark forests, industrial factories, and swamplands. It's horror. All of these terms goes against most of the design pillars, like transforming creatures, lycanthropes, everything like that. They are all. Yes, most of this is just not part of the jump scares, stalking enemies. Inspiration blends class Resident Evil, survival horror with Resident Evil 4. Actually focused on Resident Evil 7's first person immersions. I'm just going to say no, it's not going to be the inspiration source, a inspiration source. It needs to be gone. Uh, Title 3. I'm just going to do that. I need to update this, apparently. Visage. I apparently liked Visage. Amnesia, the bunker. I think the big thing I wanted to take from bunker was the interaction between the light mechanic and the player. You had to wind it up all the time. Now, I'm thinking maybe not, because that means resource management in a sense. Or maybe not resource management necessarily. How about that? Visage, though. I have to have a look at that. Where did I put it? Incorporate collectible notes. Yeah, okay. I'm sure it looks like a mess, but it is taking shape. I swear. Uh, Concept, theme, interpretation. What is this? Within the context of the puzzle game, rather than the sacrifice strictly being an optional upgrade of sorts, the timing, placement, and orientation, a sacrifice within the game instead occurs to allow the solution of progression of the player. That's the puzzle. Okay. Only with the careful planning of the movement to remove parts of the player mask can the player make their way to the exit. Let's go on. Don't need that. How does how is it, how am I meant to do this? I mean, the concept of puzzle games rather than the sacrifice strictly. Optional upgrade of sorts. Kind of impressed though they are able to verbalize their ideas so concise. All right. This is going to change the game quite drastically, I think. But I can't see a way, or rather, I like the idea that you will have to, as you progress, as you find the truth of what's happened here, you also have to do some puzzle. But then again, it might go against the grounded stuff. How often will you ever encounter let's call it a haunted house or a bandit or a scenario where you are inside a creaky old house, mansion, whatever you want to call it, and all of a sudden you have to go through all of these puzzles to progress. It is a game. I need to keep that in mind. So I'm not just limiting myself to what could be possible in reality. Some gamification is needed. So how about we play with the idea of having locked doors, and you need to find a area where would you put locks, like keys to a lock? You put them maybe some kind of drawer, some cabinet. Okay, yeah, sure. Collectible notes certainly. Combination locks, sure, that could be collectible notes. But honestly, all but the puzzles part. But then again, okay, listen. Okay, so here's an idea. We're talking about a toy maker, a adult with a very, let's call it childish mind. Not necessarily immaturity, more of what they like. Which mean they kind of like the idea of play. They like the idea of creating this fantasy using toys, which is, I guess, what toys are. Right? They're meant to inspire and increase the some kind of creative thoughts. If that is true, if they have liked the idea of this artistic medium toys for that long, and now they're obsessed with it, why not, in their madness, also play into the idea they also made their house into some kind of toy? Is that too far? Am I going beyond some kind of grounded reality by doing that? Is it subtle? Is it, yeah, grounded is probably the big. I don't think it is, but it could be. I need to stretch that idea a bit. Environmental puzzles. Maybe I should call it environmental. All right. You don't like that. All right. Fair enough. What else? Do everything makes sense? It does. I think it does. It be do. Okay, what else did they? Not sure what theme interpretation would mean. Isn't it enough what I've already had? Or have, I should say. Gameplay overview. I mean, I do have. These are more selling points rather than gameplay descriptions. In a single. Oh, sorry. This is something I need to change. I forgot about that. This can't be left. I need to do this. Or maybe not that part. So the game player experience. So in a single screen dungeon for each of the 50 levels, the player will solve short but perhaps complex requires planning and management. Okay, it's not a single screen dungeon, that's for sure. So it is. It's an atmospheric environment or level, obscured darkness. It's hard to tell what's going on. Things are ambiguous, meaning it's really kind of difficult to tell if there's something threatening out there. Solve short, perhaps, but perhaps complex puzzles. A player's balance, so it's a first person view. It's atmospheric. I guess it haunted. Um, I mean, we're meant to solve a mystery, I guess. So one play will solve a mystery through observations, discoveries. Not sure about this description right here, but it is something I kind of want to have the idea of. Yeah, sure, they will solve stuff, but they will also be fighting the environment. So I will confuse, I guess. Sure if this is a proper explanation. It's more like in very top down or a shallow explanation of what's going on. I must fight their what? Yeah. And what else? This sounds so bad, but all right. Yeah, that's a terrible sentence. I think that's decent. Again, all these needs to be updated. But at least I've had something written down. Okay. Art. It's kind of impressive how detailed this kind of is. And this is why I mentioned what I said earlier. I feel like this is something they've updated afterwards, but that might be how things should be made. Like in pre-production, you should determine all of these things and then add it to your game dev doc, right? I don't have that, but I might find a or maybe a few more other reference images that's just like, yeah, this is kind of the feeling I'm going for. All right. Let's do this. Don't need that. Let's do this. Wait, what? I'm sorry. There you go. We're going to stack correct. Thank you. And that is a big deal. All right. So I'm going to do this. Yep, that makes sense. No, that needs to be a 3, doesn't it? Yep. Do that, do this, and we're going to make all of these red because that is not ours. So, well, no, we're not going to do that. Yeah. Fears the Phantom, all of these needs to be updated. Concept, design, subtlety over spectacles. Yeah, fair enough. Gonna have another round of ads in like a minute. Oh, thank you, Kindlebot. How about this? Can I do that? Oh, I can. So these needs to be updated. Oh, I'm not sure. I feel like some things have happened, right? We've updated it to an extent. There's a few parts that might not sync up with the rest of the structure. So I'm going to have to really do some cleanup off stream. But I feel there's at least a few things I've been kind of dislodged, if that's the correct term, from my head, and that is, I do believe we need to introduce some kind of environmental puzzles into the game. Just the idea of walking around is not enough. We need something more, and I think having something like a fetch goal, you need to find. I want the player to feel like they are incentivized to walk around. Not only the idea of finding some kind of memory or understanding what's happening. I want them to feel, hey, I have a specific goal in mind, which is probably something along the lines of fetching keys to unlock a door, finding notes so that you can get through a specific lock. Kind of classic stuff. So we do have ads on Twitch side, but this time I'm not going to stretch because we don't have a lot left of the stream in general. So we'll let this ad go through. I'm going to spend another 15, 20 minutes going through whatever I can on the document. And I do feel, and please correct me if I'm wrong, I mean, like a comment, or maybe you're in chat right now, you can add a comment to this, give me some feedback. Watching me continuously work on a game dev doc might be interesting to some, to an extent, right? At some point, I don't think listening to me rambling about various documents, writing just notes, nothing really concrete, maybe be interesting talking about me, hearing me talk about what I think the game will be, perhaps. But we're looking at maybe 3 hours or 2.5 at least of me just writing a document. I don't think that is particularly interesting. So, with that said, this stream will be all about the document. But for the next one, I'll see if I can find something else to do, to focus on a bit. And I'll continue writing the document off stream. And hopefully have something more concrete, finished, or at least to an extent, at least finished document within the next week or so. I think that is a better approach to this. But I don't know. Let me know in the comments or like in chat right now if you think what I'm saying makes sense. I think it does. It does. And it will be more interesting, not only to me personally, to actually get into Unreal or making models. And I think that will be probably the next stream. We're actually going to start working on Unreal stuff. But for now, we're just going to continue this. All right, so theme interpretation. I'm not sure what they mean with it. While maintaining the very limited color palette theme, the sole use of black and white seems way too common. A bit harsh as a color theme for relaxing puzzle games. Yeah, fair, I guess. To circumvent this, a softer, darker blue color would I feel like this is more, hey, I noticed something while watching others, and here's my way of solving that, but also making the game, which is fine. It is giving the like, hey, we need to look at this while we make the game. Okay. Theme interpretation. So how do I interpret I take the very limited color palette. I mean, we can go with while maintaining a very saturated. What else could we say? Saturated and God, I wish I had my coffee right now. You know what makes a decent designer? Well, I think I would like to think myself as a decent designer, and that's realize when to quit. I mean, we've made progress. I've added a ton of things. I need to clean it up. I'm repeating myself. Yes, it needs to be cleaned up. But I think this is a good point to stop. And also, I do have work in like 20 minutes, so it is actually honestly a good place. I'm sorry about the extra ads. Really sorry about that. I do plan on looking at why that is happening and trying to time it better. Because I couldn't snooze this time because I've used up my snooze during my snoozes during the last stream. So I couldn't do it this time. I would have otherwise. So we're going to do this. I am going to end the stream here. And until the next one, which will be on Wednesday, I'm going to leave it up to, okay, so we might do one thing. If I can't find a time to really make sure this document is as good as it could be, considering it's the first, we haven't even got it into game. It's a living document, so we'll update as we make the game. But I do want a few things, a few ideas well written down and easy to understand. If I can't get that done before Wednesday, I might actually, honestly, kind of skip Wednesday stream. It's still a thought, so don't assume that's going to happen. More likely, we'll start looking at our real stuff and perhaps maybe downloading a few assets so we can start playing around with. That's probably what we're going to do. But anyway, I think this is the last stream for game dev, at least me writing game dev. I'm going to talk about the game dev or the document at some point, but writing it, this is the last stream. So until next time, do hope you all have a good day. And do we have anyone here for me to pass along to someone else? No, it looks like I am by myself today. Oh, that's unfortunate, but it's what it is. I understand design documents might not be for everyone, especially not entertaining and listening to me saying a lot of the same things again and again and again. I understand. And to you on YouTube, if you're curious, yes, there's, or no, sure, if you're curious, if you noticed the silence behind me is because I don't have any music going on YouTube side. So if you want music, if you want to join me on Twitch, you're more than welcome. And the final plug, final call to action, please do join me on YouTube. If you want to see the VODs, I do have other stuff going on there. A lot more in the future. It all depends on time. I'm limited on that, but I do hope and I have a vision and idea of what I want the future of this channel on Twitch and on YouTube, what it's going to be, what the studio will be in the future. It just will take time, and I don't have much of that, at least not on my spare time. I'm rambling. Thank you all for showing up. Hope to see you all next time, which I do believe will be on Wednesday, 6 a.m. my time, which is Central European Standard Time. So everyone, thank you all for showing up. And I did see a little spike on the YouTube side, so maybe someone joined me right now. I'm sorry because I'm going to end the stream right here. But yeah, I am rambling. I am going to end this here. So thank you all for showing up, and I do hope you all have a great day.